Hi, this is Colleen Pearl, the Cool Crone, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about the full moon in Gemini that's happening on December 19th, the last full moon of 2021. All right, let's discuss the full moon in Gemini on December 19th. Now it's going to happen early in the morning, 4:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is where I am. But you should do a little quick Google to find out what time the full moon will be happening in your neck of the woods. Now I can tell you that it's going to be in Gemini at 27 degrees 28 minutes. Now 27 degrees may sound like a number that keeps repeating over and over and over again. It's not anything to do with the moon and the eclipses or full moons even. It has to do with the Pluto return. That's why you keep thinking of 27 degrees, because 27 degrees Capricorn 33 minutes is where Pluto's going to be returning in February, and I'm going to be doing a video about the Pluto return before that time. The Gemini moon is actually masculine. It's an air sign. It's mutable, and it's ruled by the planet Mercury. I guess you probably will recognize this fella. He has his moon in Gemini. And people with the moon in Gemini tend to be very curious, very avid learners. They don't have any restrictions upon the topics about which they want to learn. I have found that people with moon in Gemini are voracious readers. They may not read books, they may read magazines, things online, they may read blogs and watch blogs and be into YouTube, but they learn a lot of things. So if ever you have a topic that you just don't know anything about, probably your moon in Gemini friend is the first stop you should make before you even try to Google it, because they most likely have either read a book or an article or watched a video about that topic. They just need to know a little bit about everything. Now, most moon in Gemini people are not going to go very, very deep into every topic that they learn about, but they're curious about every topic. So they're just going to go and get as much as they need to know about that topic and then probably move on to the next. When the moon transits through the sign of Gemini, though, we all feel a little changeable, a little restless. We like to talk things through. We're a little more talkative than usual. We get bored very easily because the energy is very light. It encourages us to move along. It encourages us to do lots of things, but not to dig in too deep to what we're doing, because then we wouldn't be able to move on to the next thing. But it's a very social moon. It's a very adaptable moon. So it's a great moon to schedule, get-togethers, and whether they're social or whether it's a business thing. People are going to talk at these get-togethers if the moon is in Gemini. And we all remember Barack Obama. He liked to talk a lot. Now, he had his moon in Gemini. He's a Leo with Aquarius rising, so he has lots of air, but he has that Leo rising, so he has an ego too. This is a person probably that was genuinely curious about a lot of things and a lot of people, and I think that's what probably makes him a great leader, is that he's not just sitting on top of the mountain in a glass house. He's genuinely curious about what other people do in their lives and what he can do to make their lives better. So I thought he was a pretty good president. All right. Now, the full moon is the time, and I say this every month, but it is the time of culmination. So whatever you started the month previous, probably around the new moon, but maybe even before, that energy has come to a peak. And it is also a time where the sun is across the sky from the moon, and so we have this solar versus lunar or yin and yang energy going on, and that's what makes people a little crazy, a little like lunatics. And then we also have the fact that with that yin and yang energy going across the sky, it kind of forces you to deal with issues that are unresolved, because you will have the impulse to resolve that seesaw energy. Your impulse will be, well, that's uncomfortable, I want to finish that or get rid of that. And instead of just walking away from it, you'll want to resolve it. And that is the healthier attitude. The full moon shines a light on the darkness. Whatever the darkness is in your life, that full moon is going to put a spotlight on it, and you know it. It is the time to let go of negative patterns, of toxic thoughts, things that you repeat in your daily pattern. Like if you're always saying, oh, stupid me, don't say that, because you're reinforcing that you are in fact stupid, or, you know, I'm just too ugly for that. Don't say things like that. Try to clean up your pattern in your head so that you're constantly reinforcing very positive things about yourself. It'll save you a lot of anxiety later. Full moons are also the time to release wasted emotions. And let's all say it together. The wasted emotions are guilt, fear, jealousy, and disappointment. There's no value to expressing those emotions because they all have to do with other people. You can't control other people. Just because you feel guilty that your son didn't get enough of you at his baseball games because you had to work all the time doesn't mean that you're responsible for what's going on with your son right now. So feeling guilty about that is a wasted emotion. And being afraid of things is just allowing yourself to give power away to that thing. So that's something to work on. Being jealous of other people, you cannot control how other people interact. So being jealous of somebody else's success or a relationship that they started with somebody that you used to be in love with, there's no value to that, and there's no benefit to that emotion. So try very hard to get over that or release that. The more that you can tell yourself that jealousy is unnecessary and an unneeded and wasted emotion, the more you will begin to believe it. I don't know of really any other way to get rid of jealousy other than just to build yourself up, love yourself, know that you are the best that you can be, and that if somebody else doesn't love you, it's their problem, not yours. And disappointment. Are you disappointed in your kids? Are you disappointed in your spouse? Why? You cannot control them anymore. You cannot control what they do. They are their own person, whether we're talking about another adult or even a child. So being disappointed and spending a lot of energy on people being disappointed in their actions and behavior and trying to change them is a wasted thing. You're just not going to get through to them. So guilt, fear, jealousy, disappointment, wasted emotions, get over them and spend your energy on something positive that can make you feel good. So the full moon is a time for letting go of that stuff. All right, let's talk about the retrograde planets that are going on right now. We've got Uranus turning direct on January 18th. Chiron turning direct on the same day as the full moon, December 19th, and Venus is stationing retrograde at 26 degrees 29, so basically 27 degrees of Capricorn, also on December 19th. So we really are going to have just 2 retrograde planets going into this full moon. And now looking at the other planetary placements that we have on December 19th, we have the Sun sextile to Jupiter, the Moon quincunxing both Venus and Pluto, Venus conjuncting Pluto. That's why it's able to quincunx both of those planets are able to quincunx the Moon. Saturn square Uranus. And now let's go on to our predictions. We'll start with the air signs. So Gemini, this is your full moon. So this means that you are going to be highly emotional on the full moon. It's going to be focusing on you. This is what makes us all a little loony, right? That masculine solar energy opposing the feminine lunar energy. And when this happens in your first house, you get very sensitive about what other people are saying or what your perceptions are about what other people are thinking or doing. and you may feel insecure in some way. And Gemini, this is your moon. You shouldn't be feeling insecure whatsoever. But one of the things that I talk about in the astrology video that takes place from this full moon up to the new moon in January is how we deal with woundings, how we deal with our insecurities and things that have happened to us that are actually wounds that need to be healed. There's quite a few aspects with Chiron in the 2-week period following this full moon. So I think you should watch that video because it gives an opportunity to address what happens when we have a wounding, what happens when we're literally injured emotionally and even physically. Now, sometimes when we're injured physically and it leaves some kind of malformed part of our bodies, we have an emotional response to that, even if it's not very noticeable. Like I contracted Bell's palsy when I gave birth to my oldest daughter, and I'm very sensitive about smiling because my smile isn't what it used to be. It's crooked. So I can smile, right? But I'm very cognizant of the fact that that smile is not perfect. It's not the way it used to be when I was younger. And you may have something that makes you feel a little bit less than also. Our feelings about these types of deformities are also under the auspices of Chiron. So this series of aspects that we're going to be going through gives you a chance to address this emotionally and let go of something that you really can't control. Like for me, I can't control it. I don't love smiling, but I don't let it stop me from smiling. I realize that I'm different, and I even went to a doctor, a plastic surgeon, asking if there was something that they could do to recreate my smile, to let this side of my face be fixed so that it matched what I used to have when I was younger. And the doctor told me the best thing. I love this about this. This is a plastic surgeon. They could have made a lot of money with the surgery, right? But she said, why would you want to fix that? That's a reflection of who you are now. That's a reflection of a part of your life that nobody else has. I was like, wow, that was very zen of you. So so I took that to heart and I stopped trying to fix my smile. I kind of like just said, it's me, it's what I am. And yeah, it's always going to be like that. It's always going to look, to me, it looks like I'm kind of smirking when I smile. But if it doesn't bother anybody else, what do I care? So I just let it go. So Gemini, there may be something like that going on for you too. Certainly when you have the moon in the first house, you're very cognizant of the way you look and of what others think about the way you look. And that's why I bring this up, because it just might be that this month you're feeling particularly sensitive about the way you look, and you may be, you know, discontent with that look. So you may be trying to change it. And in fact, when we have a full moon in our first house, very often we are trying to change the way we look, not necessarily because we're ashamed of the way we look, but we may just be ready for a change. And Gemini, if there's one thing that you love, it's change. So you may be ready for a change, not because of any kind of wounding, but just because you're bored. And so this full moon is obviously a good time to try to make some changes. And when the full moon is in your first house, it's the perfect time to set up a whole new look for yourself that you want to use for at least the next year, maybe a couple of years. Knowing you, Gemini, it's only going to be 6 months, but you know, it's a really great time to do that, because the full moon is a great time to let things go. Now, the sun in your 7th house puts a focus on your partner. So you may be looking at things that have to do with your relationship, or with just between you and your partner, how you deal with things like looks and branding and stuff like that. I mean, this may be expressed in the way you guys decorate your house, or just your bedroom, or just your living room or something. It may not be expressed totally with the way each of you look physically, but it's a brand. So if you can kind of extrapolate from what I'm saying and put it on top of your relationship, you should be able to see that the focus here is going to be on the way you are presenting to the world, which when we're with a partner, we're presenting to the world as a unit, as a group, right? A small group of two, but a group. And when you present to the world as an individual, that's different from how you are in a relationship. Okay, Gemini, so I hope I gave you some food for thought, and let's move on to Libra. So for Libra, we have the moon in the 9th house and the sun in the 3rd house. So the moon in the 9th house means that you're really going to be focusing on dreams of foreign lands, or dreams of that humongous YouTube channel you want to create, or dreams of going to outer space, or dreams of just learning about something that's foreign to you. And when it comes to the 9th house, religions could be foreign to you if they're not the religion that you were raised with as a young child. So anything, like if you were raised Baptist and all of a sudden you're exploring what it is to be Catholic, that could be foreign to you. It doesn't necessarily mean something from another country. That's why I wanted to explain this. So Libra, you are in a situation with in this full moon where your curiosity is being piqued about things having to do with the 9th house, and that encompasses religion, higher learning, foreign countries, the publishing industry, the legal industry, outer space, and the internet. So that's a pretty wide range of stuff, Libra, but you're an air sign. You can handle it. And the sun being in your 3rd house means that you're going to be reflecting back to what went on in your childhood, your early educational training, and your early relationships, say with your siblings or cousins, or even your current neighbors in your neighborhood. These things are what are really going to be coming into focus for you at the time of the full moon. And this is going to give you an opportunity to let go of things that are outdated. If you're still treating, say, your mail carrier the same way your parents treated a mail carrier when you were growing up, you may find that that relationship is really different than what it was when you were a kid. So you may want to change those things. That's probably not a very good example. Let's say a teacher, the way you look at people who teach you things. Well, as a child, you had a formal teacher for every grade, and then it branched out when you got older and you had multiple classes with different teachers in all of those classes, rather than sitting in a single room all day long when you're a very young child. So you may be thinking of people who teach as people who have to be labeled teachers. When we're adults, there are lots of people that we learn from. We learn from our siblings, we learn from our neighbors, we learn from our coworkers, we learn from the person we buy coffee from sometimes. So you may be seeing reflected back to you your attitudes about the way you treat people who are teachers to you. And in that reflection, you may find that it inspires you to do something different with these 9th house topics like the internet or space or foreign countries, sure. So just a lot of stuff to think about there, Libra. Again, you're an air sign. This is an air sign moon. It's going to be very comfortable for you to be in this energy, and it's just going to give you a lot of things to think about. All right, let's go on to Aquarius. So Aquarius, this full moon is going to focus on your 5th house for children and things that are fun, games of chance, the stock market, love affairs, things that are risky, things that you have to take a risk in order to do them. So you're not opposed to this, Aquarius. The 5th house for you is a great place. What might be a challenge for you is that now you have to get involved with people, and sometimes, Aquarius, you don't really love being involved with people, but the moon is there in the 5th house, so there's going to be at least one other person that you really have to be involved with when it comes to delving into having fun. Now, this could be you trying to take on a new hobby, or you trying to expand an existing hobby. It could be you going back to a sport that you played as a child. but in some way you're also going to be engaging with another person because you've got the sun and moon dynamic there set up by the full moon. So you could be seeing that there's maybe, you know, you've lost the ability to play that sport. Maybe you don't run as fast as you used to, and that makes it difficult. Or maybe you've lost weight or gained weight and you just don't move in the same way. So there's a challenge. There's going to be some sort of a challenge there, but it's something that's going to be enjoyable because it is, after all, the 5th house where things are fun. Now, the sun in your 11th house means, again, that there's other people involved because this is the house for groups. So you've got the sun there, so definitely there's going to be groups involved. Most likely that 11th house grouping is going to involve people, more male energy than female energy. And the 5th house part of it is going to be more the female energy, the yin energy, than the male energy. So there's going to be a dichotomy there, and there's going to be a tension there that you need to work on. And that's what this full moon's going to mean for you. Let's move on to the earth signs. So Taurus, this full moon is going to fall in your 2nd house. So it's going to, again, really focus on income, streams of income, talents and resources and values. So you may see that your income stream is fluctuating. There may be something extra coming in this month. There may be something extra going out this month that you need more money for. So you may be finding it a little frustrating to meet your bills this month. Or it could be that you have been trying to get a secondary business or a stream or a job off the ground, and it's been a little challenging. And now with this full moon, you may be getting assistance from some sort of a partner who helps with this enterprise. Going into the 2nd house is always tricky because, you know, most of the people who watch this channel, I think of themselves as light workers, or at least spiritually informed people. And when we're talking about the 2nd house and the 10th house and the 6th house, we're talking about jobs, careers, and money. And most people who are light workers tend to think of themselves as not so into money, not so hung up on money. But money can be very spiritual if you think of money as an exchange of energy. So the energy that you put into the 2nd house is fluctuating right now. And the energy that you're receiving from the 2nd house is fluctuating because the moon indicates fluctuation. It indicates change. So for you, Taurus, you want to look at that change and see how you can bolster it, how you can embrace it, how you can beef it up so that you can feel very secure, because you always want to feel secure, Taurus. You don't like the iffy stuff in life. You want things to be nailed down if possible. But the moon won't allow that. The moon says, nope, things are changing. They're going to change quick, and you just have to roll with it. So rather than think of this in terms of a defeating thing, that I'm going to lose money or my income is going to change up or down and you're not liking the change, think of it as energy, that your energy is going to be fluctuating and you need to accommodate that. So if you knew that you were going to be, say, low energy for a few days, might you reschedule things so that you don't have to do as many things on those low energy days? And you would do more things on the days either when your energy is normal or a little bit higher. So think of it in terms of energy, because the 2nd house, Taurus, is not only your income, it is your values, your resources, your talents. So you have the ability to make that 2nd house changeable and to keep it moving up, up, up in your favor so that you have more talents, you have more skills, you have more resources to use, and it isn't only a question of losing. Because yes, the moon is changeable, but that change does not always have to be losing things. It can also be increasing things, because the moon itself, does it not increase each month and decrease each month? So don't be afraid of it, Taurus. In the whole model of the moon, there is consistency. There is something that you can count on. It's just in the couple of days of the full moon, that's when we see that changeable quality come in, but it doesn't have to be something to be feared. Now, the sun in the 8th house means that there are going to be involvements with your partner and your joint resources, or something having to do with metaphysical things. So the 8th house rules sex, death, taxes, and occult matters, or hidden matters, or things that are mysterious matters. And so either you're going to be doing some learning about those matters, or you're going to be revising something about your joint finances, or something about taxes or death or inheritance. So take a look at all of that, Taurus, because those things will have to be taken care of, and this full moon is the time to do it. All right, let's move on to Virgo. So Virgo, this full moon is happening in your 4th house for the real estate that you live on, the home that you live in, and your family unit. And the moon is up in the 10th house for your career, your legacy, and what you're going to be known for, what you're going to leave behind. With the moon up in your career house, well, you've always got it up there, Virgo. I mean, you've always got Gemini up there. So you've always got a focus in your career that has to do with changeability. And with the moon there, it just emphasizes that you're actually ready to receive a reward. So Virgo, I'm going to say that for you on this full moon, there's going to be some sort of a reward coming for you. There's going to be possibly some recognition or a bonus or a prize of some kind, where the higher ups or maybe the public just say, yeah, job well done. We really see that you have it there and it's going to be really good. It can also mean sometimes that you're changing your career when the full moon happens there. But since that happens once a year and you're an earth sign, Virgo, I highly doubt that you're changing your career every year at this time. But what it could mean is that you do every year at this time evaluate the tasks that you're responsible for, and you may change them slightly from year to year depending upon the number of employees that are available to do it, the people who are there, how the business grows or shrinks. So you could have some changes in that way during this full moon. The sun is in your 4th house, and I'm going to say for that there could be thoughts of expanding things in the home, maybe making 2 bedrooms out of 1 large room, maybe adding on to the house, maybe buying or selling the house, maybe redoing the landscaping. Some kind of big change is going to be happening with the house, probably over the next 6 months, because a full moon will really begin with the full moon in one season, and then it culminates actually when we have the new moon the following 6 months. Let's look at Capricorn rising. So Capricorn, you have the moon in the 6th house for job and the people you work with and health and pets. And the sun is in your 12th house, Capricorn. Now, having the moon in your 6th house means that things are changing in your job. Now, every year at this time, you have a full moon in your 6th house, and your 6th house is ruled by Gemini. So a lot like Virgo, you're already used to your job being kind of changeable, kind of amorphous, lots of stuff going on, lots of different tasks that you're responsible for, managing just a lot of little things. So you're good at that, and you're already used to that. And having your moon there means that, or your full moon there, means that there's going to be even more profound changes at the time of this full moon, not just the normal, oh, it's Tuesday, so it must be, let's only do XYZ today, and then Wednesday we'll do ABC, and then Thursday we'll do DEF. So you're used to having to wear lots of different little hats at your job, but now you're coming into a time where people are probably actually going to be discussing what's going on in your job as far as your tasks go, and how things might change that way. So there might be some big changes coming up in your job. Having the sun in your 12th house means that you're going to be having very vivid dreams, and you may be dreaming about your goals in life. You may be having dreams, literal dreams that turn into the dreams that turn into goals for your life for the next year. And Capricorn, you are a sign that sets goals anyway. So I would say that this is an annual event, having the full moon splay across your 6th and 12th houses every year at around this time. You probably set goals for the next year. And this is why, because you have the sun right there in the 12th house, giving you these dreams. Just like Edison, you go to sleep and you come up with these great ideas. So that's what's going on for you, Capricorn. Okay, moving on to the water signs. And the first sign in the water signs that we do is Cancer. So Cancer, this full moon is just the opposite of Capricorn that we just talked about. You've got the moon in the 12th house and the sun in the 6th house. So let's talk about the moon first. The moon in Gemini every year at this time is full in your 12th house, meaning that right around this time of year, your dreams are bananas. They're very, very psychic. They're highly predictive. You always remember them. That may be because you have a great memory, Cancer. But having the moon there every December and having a full moon allows you to really reinforce the idea of just how intuitive and psychic you really are. Most of the water signs are really, really psychic, and you're no exception, Cancer. But what you use this energy for is what's really important in your life. And I think, like Capricorn, you probably look at your dreams and try to decide how you want to use your talents and resources over the next year. So you probably do some sort of planning for the next year once you begin to have these very, very prophetic dreams in the month of December. Now, you're not the big goal setter planner that Capricorn is, but that doesn't mean that you don't have goals and dreams and plans. It just means that maybe you're a little less rigid about them. Maybe you're not writing them down in a golden notebook that gets tucked away in a safety deposit box. Maybe you just keep a journal, and maybe you keep a journal all the time. I would not be surprised. A lot of people I know with Cancer rising love to write. And a lot of them do keep journals. So you probably just note it in your journal. And if you went back to last year's journal, you would probably see very clearly where you have come over the last 12 months. And it probably would be according to what you set up as a goal and a dream in your journal last year. Now, the sun being in your 6th house, again, this is an annual event. And so the 6th house for you is work. It's also health and pets. And I would say, Cancer, that rather than having big changes on the job, I would bet that you use this time and this energy to do kind of a health evaluation for yourself as well at this time of year. You probably do it for your pets too, so that in your mind you set up, okay, in June I'm doing my mammogram, and in August I do my annual physical, and you probably set up these annual medical things that you're going to do for the whole year so that you don't have to do them all together. And you think about these things, oh, I'm getting older, maybe I should be checked for cataracts, or maybe I need to go do this special test for whatever, my bone density or whatever. So you look at your health and you schedule it out just like a Capricorn would schedule out all their business events, because you want to take care of yourself and because it's important to you. And I bet you had a dream about it too. Okay, Cancer, let's go on to Scorpio. All right, Scorpio. So you've got the sun in the 2nd house, and the moon, the full moon, is in your 8th house for joint resources, for sex, death, and taxes, and the occult. So let's talk about the moon first. So this is really going to put a focus on any kind of joint resources that you share with your partner, but also anything having to do with taxes and inheritances or sex. This is the house for sex. It's also the house for rejuvenation and transformation and things that are occult, things that are hidden. So I like to think of this as things that people don't like to talk about, so they keep it a secret. Just like in the 12th house, it's people who are kept secret, people that you don't see very often, people that you don't talk about, who are kind of hidden away somehow, either in a foreign country or a hospital, but they're hidden away and people just don't talk about them very much. So there's a similarity there with the 8th house and the 12th house, and a connection there too. So this moon in Gemini is really important for you, Scorpio. So something is going to be changing when it comes to your joint resources, Scorpio. You're either rewriting a will or changing up the trust funds or the grats or whatever. You're doing some changing where it comes to your joint resources. Maybe you're getting new life insurance. Maybe you guys are investing in something that's going to be for the future, a separate house or something. I don't know. You're changing things up. You could also be changing things up where it comes to your sex life, your relationship in that way. You could be changing your insurance policies on your house, your property insurance, not just your life insurance. So there's things that are changing where it comes to joint resources. And the sun in the second house is reflective of the fact that somebody's probably going to have to pay a little bit more for what you're doing. That could be you. You're probably the sun in this scenario, or it could be your partner. But anyway, things are going to be changing, and it is going to have some kind of an impact on your bank account. And this actually is an annual event. You have a full moon in your 8th house every year. So this is probably the time of year where you really think about your joint resources and retirement and things like that. So that's kind of short and sweet, Scorpio, but that's all I really see going on for you with this Gemini full moon. All right, and then we come to Pisces rising. Now, Pisces, you've got the full moon in your 4th house with the sun up there in your 10th house. So for you, the changes are coming in the real estate that you own, the house that you live in, and your family unit. So there could be additions to your family unit. You could be bringing in a baby to the family. You could be adopting a child. You could be housing an elderly relative, or just letting somebody sleep on your couch for a while. But at any rate, Pisces, you're going to be probably having some changes to either the number of people who live with you or the actual personnel who live in your house. And this might be a welcome thing. It could be your mother coming to visit for a month. I mean, the moon is the mother, right? So this could be an annual trek that she comes out and stays with you for a while in December. So I might not be telling you anything earth-shaking or new. Now the sun is in your 10th house, and so this will always have an impact on your career. So every year at this time, Pisces, you probably have some kind of a review process that you go through, and you're probably given some sort of an upgrade or a reward on your salary. So this year is going to be no different because you're still having the full moon in your 10th house. If you're self-employed or you own your own business, probably you're seeing some sort of a tax benefit or some kind of a benefit, or there's a party or an accolade of some kind that is bestowed upon you at this time of year, and it's going to happen right around the full moon, which is December 19th. So that's what I have for you, Pisces. So moving on to the fire signs. First one is Aries. Aries, this full moon is happening in your 3rd house with the sun in the 9th house. The 3rd house represents childhood learning, your immediate neighborhood, the travel that you do to work every day, and neighbors, really. So this means that there might be a little bit of a change up in that area of your life. It could be that you've taken a different route to work, or you're changing neighbors. Maybe you've got neighbors that are moving out and new people are moving in, and you're having to get to know them. It could be something to do with your siblings, but there's going to be some changes to something going on with your siblings or your neighbors or your route to work, or it could be your kids' childhood education, but mostly this is pertaining to you because this is falling in your natal chart, not your child's. Now the sun in the 9th house means that there's going to be some sort of a big expansion or a legacy or a reward given pertaining to things having to do with the 9th house. And for you, that's going to be foreign countries or new or foreign religions. That means foreign just means that you weren't raised with it, so it's foreign to you. You could be Methodist and you could be learning about Judaism. It doesn't necessarily mean religion from another land. It means religion that you weren't raised with. So it's foreign to you because you weren't raised with it. So something's going to change there. Now, the ninth house covers a lot of stuff, not just religion. It's higher learning, it's publishing, it's the law, it's the internet, it's outer space, it's way, way, way far away foreign countries, it's travel over water in general. So if it doesn't have to be a foreign country that's a really long ways away, as long as it's over water to get there. So if you're in the United States, going to Canada doesn't seem like such a far away place. But if you're going to Central America, you're probably going to fly over water. So that's a foreign land. All right. So big changes in that area as well, but more in, for you, Aries, the ninth house stuff is going to bring reward of some kind. And the masculine solar energy opposing the feminine lunar energy here is giving you a little tug of war as it concerns what you should be doing and how you should be feeling about what you're doing. So you're going to probably have quite a few discussions, probably internally as well as with your partner, about how you handle your resources and how you handle this whole transaction about the learning and a foreign country and travel and all of that stuff. So that's what's going on for you, Aries. Now, Leo, you've got the sun in the 5th house and your full moon is falling in your 11th house. So sun in the 5th house means there's going to be some fun activities going on, things that you enjoy, things that you really love doing. It could also mean, you know, a sports team or a love affair. And with the moon in the 11th house, this means that you're going to be looking at possibly some changes having to do with groups that you're affiliated with, or what you're doing with the money that you garner from your career. Now, for most people, the 11th house is where we do charity or altruistic things after we've retired from a successful career. So you either travel the world or you start doing charities, right, when you retire. So that's why this is a little bit different, Leo, because it's not really clear with just these two planets here what's going on for you. I would have to be doing a whole reading about your chart to really see which one it is. So I'll talk in generalities that the moon is usually indicative of changes because the moon is a changeable planet. We say that euphemistically. It's a luminary, but you know, we just refer to the sun and the moon along with the other planets when we're comparing them in astrology. So, and also we want to consider that the feminine and masculine energy that is represented by the sun and the moon is always, you know, across from each other in the sky at the time of the full moon. So you've got your changeability or feminine energy here in the groups, and also this is the house for hopes, dreams, and wishes, opposing the house where the sun is, which is the house for fun. So it could be just you having this tug of war, but you could also be having it very often with your partner when it comes to full moon energy, where you're just not quite sure where to direct your energies. You're just not quite sure where to direct your resources. So that's something that's coming up for you, Leo, where you're just not quite sure which way you're going to go with these things. All right, and then we have Sagittarius. Sag, this is also a big new moon for you because, again, it comes every year where the moon is in your 7th house and the sun is in your 1st house. So sun in the 1st house always feels good, but it is in opposition to the moon, which is in the 7th house, so it's involving your partner. So you and your partner probably every year have this discussion about, I don't know, something that has to do with the identity of the partner. So the moon, which is, you're the one with Sag rising, right? But the moon is going to be your heartfelt desires, your moods, your feelings about the relationship and your reaction to the relationship. The sun is, if you are a double Sag, then this is also your sun, and then you're going to be contemplating this between you and yourself. But if you're not a Sag, you just have Sag rising, then it's involving you and your partner. So I just wanted to explain that little thing. Now, if you're a double Sag, if you have Sun and Rising that are Sagittarius, it's possible that this could also involve your partner. I'm just saying, for a lot of people out there who are not a double Sag, just a Sag Rising, then most likely this is involving your partner. God, could I make this any more complicated? I'm so sorry if I've confused you. Leave me a comment down below with a question and I'll answer it about this. Anyway, the Sun in your first house is making you feel very strong and confident right now, and this is the way you feel every year at this time of year. But you also always have to deal with the fact that the moon is in your 7th house, and that's what pulls in your partner. So you always have to go through this kind of little tug of war about what are we going to do and how do we deal with it as a couple, and you know, what's the best choice for us. Some of it will have to do with, well, how does it look to everybody else, because you are dealing with first house issues. But what's most important, Sag, is that you do what's important in your heart, that you follow your heart in whatever comes up with this full moon energy. So that's something really important that I wanted to put out there. Okay, so that's everybody. I've given a reading for every sign out there. I'm so grateful for all of you for watching this video all the way to the end. Please leave me a comment down below. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I love you all. Thank you so much for being my subscribers, and I'll see you next time.